I don't know how much the starters are going to play, if at all, but we had some flashes and some stuff maybe worth processing through. Preseason game number 2, Jaylen Royals looked really good. I don't know if we want to start there, but then I want to go eventually here, FAU and R. Mason Thomas. I just felt like they played a really good game for a game against backups, but they were flashing left and right, and it was awesome.
It was awesome to know that Jaylen Royals has shown real improvement from basically when this podcast started. Like, I can't stress that enough. I was so concerned about, like, I don't know if he's getting it. I don't know if it's too much. I don't know if the coaching staff is asking him to do so many things that are different from last year's group or, his position coach, which appears to be the case. But I think the biggest winner out of the preseason game number 2 was Jaylen Royals, because I think it solidifies his spot on the roster. I thought it was funny that I heard earlier today that someone called him Diet Rashee Rice, which I thought was hilarious. So it's like, hey, we have a role. You could be the power, backup power slot. The fact that he made yards after the catch, which I think a lot of people alluded to, that was probably his biggest trait in college, was yards after the catch and contested catches. So he showed both of those things. But yeah, I think his spot solidified, even with this trade tonight and them maybe going, again, I'm sort of projecting them going from 10 offensive linemen to maybe 7 receivers, now going to 6. I think he's squarely in the 6, and I wasn't sure that was the case when the preseason started.
It'll be an interesting one to watch because, Mitch, you were saying they don't have a lot of spots designated for just special teams, and the only name that really popped up in my head in recent years would be Nico Remigio. He's kind of been the guy that he's not playing a lot on offense, so we don't need to go back down the road of special teams. But Tobe was saying, hey, is there still a battle for the punt returner? And he kind of said yes, but he basically said no at the same time. It seems like Nico, but yeah, if you've got to make a concession somewhere, could Brashard Smith do it? You free up a wide receiver spot to have an extra O-line spot. Mitch, do you have any thoughts on Royals? If not, we could transition to the D-line. I thought there was a lot of bright spots there for them.
Well, I do think it highlights, I guess, development. Like, it's okay for guys to kind of get slower into it. Also, fairly certain he missed most or all of training camp last year, which is like the bulk of the learning. And then once you get into the season and you're the 4th, 5th, 6th guy, then you really only have probably a smaller package of plays. You're not getting as many reps with the ones. Obviously, you have no time with the quarterback, so they don't really trust you to kind of be with the starters anyway. So combined with the receiver coach last year and what we think is a pretty big change this year. So it just kind of reinforces that, like, development is not linear necessarily. It might take longer than we want, but it helps to be healthy. It helps to have good coaching. It helps to have a little more time on task, especially as, again, historically, we've seen this is not an offense that has wide receivers stick very quickly, if at all. Tyreek had a great second half to his rookie year. Rashid, great second half to his rookie year. Like, we haven't really seen a guy come in. Cyrus is the first guy that might have legitimate playing time and catch opportunity like within the first month or two of his rookie season. That's what makes his situation so unique and why we're so excited to see it. So I think Royals is on actually a relatively normal developmental curve, and we see this, in the reverse way with these guys holding out and holding in who are looking for contracts. Typically, if you're missing 3-4 weeks of the season, none of those superstars really ever play that great that season because they miss too much time. They either get injured or they're not at their peak performance. Well, in a similar way, if you're a rookie, if you're not getting the full training camp, you're not going to be the best version of yourself. You're not probably ever going to get into the shape that you want, and you're not going to have all the reps all the time on task to learn the offense when we know that's a huge undertaking. So, yeah, just excited for him that he's kind of stuck through it and pushed through. This day and age, you can't really outrun the noise on social media, so it's cool to see him, performing well, being physical, breaking tackles, kind of doing stuff that is more, true to his DNA.
Well, I will say he was dealing with knee tendonitis, which just can take forever to kind of heal up from last year. So that really, any of the momentum that he had was kind of lost, which was unfortunate. But yeah, definitely 4th round guy, year 2. I'm rooting for him, and we'll kind of see. And then I think what you don't see as often is potentially a guy really hitting his own stride, I guess, year 4, which is what we're hoping for out of FAU. He missed all last year with the hamstring, but oh man, I don't know what you guys thought, but he shut down a series by himself, essentially 3 plays in a row, and then he had 2 more before halftime. They were lining him up inside. He was looping around outside with R. Mason Thomas, starting on the end, and then I just loved what I saw. And if you could get the best out of FAU, and then RMT is starting to show these flashes very early on. If you don't have Gelati, it just helps a little bit, especially if George Karlaftis is going to be holding it down on one side with these guys on the other.
Yes, that is a great point. And to what Mitch was saying about Jaylen Royals, we just have to delete last year from our memory. And I know that sucks because it's from a contractual situation and the fact that they didn't, they did not accept the 5th-year option. They declined it. So he's on, the last year of his rookie deal. But this is basically year 3 for Felix, given that he had a severe hamstring tear in the preseason last year up in Seattle, misses all of last season. I think he said it a little bit publicly, maybe not as definitive, but, both of his hamstrings are finally back to normal. And that's just not something that was a part of much of his NFL career to date. So he's got the playbook, he's got the scheme, he's got the skill set, and he's putting it together. And we talked about this before, if you're a Jaden Hicks, if you've been doing this more than some of these other guys around here, we want to see it, based on rookies and how much they have to think while playing. Just has done everything you could have, I guess, asked of him. And because of the injury with Ashton Gelati, the Chiefs are still hopeful that he will be available for week 1. But even if that's the case, I don't think he would get his normal starting snaps. So everything's right in front of Felix to start the season strong, to be within the rotation. And as much as I talked about earlier about the Chiefs having some concerns about their interior depth at defensive line too, some of that is because I'm not sure if Omar Norman-Lott's going to be, active from the PUP list before cutdown day. You have, 3 guys right now between Kyrus Tonga, Chris Jones, Peter Woods. If we want to add a 4th, I think that 4th player would be Marcus Harris. But if you need a guy to slide in on 2nd and 3rd down snaps, the guy that offers you the most, I believe, right now is Felix. And that's why they played him both inside and out so much. And again, just doing everything that's in front of him. And now he has a role. And in a weird way, he's become one of the players I'm most fascinated to see on opening night.
Mitch, you want to go ahead and give thoughts? Yeah. Sorry.
I'd say I concur. It feels like he is a guy who, I don't know if backup defensive end, if he's going to be with the first group opposite Karlaftis, but in early downs, probably plays outside in kind of pass rush situations, kicks inside. You've seen guys like that. The one that sticks out to me is Armstead with San Francisco. Now he's a much different body type, being 6'6" or 6'7", but he was, kind of a more base defense outside guy, and then you would have these sub packages and more rush situations, and he would kick inside the defensive tackle. Again, a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, but it does seem like that's where FAU slots. And just from a production standpoint, seeing change of direction, seeing burst off the ball, seeing beating a tackle, seeing some physicality in the run game, holding point of attack. You're thrilled to see it for obviously the team, but even more for the guy and for what he's been through.
Yeah, heck yeah.